Real talk, no joking. When I got in here, first time I've seen this RV, for a minute, I forgot I was in a stick and tin camper. Hello? Welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at our Anderson, Indiana store just outside of Indianapolis. And it's the first time I've seen this floor plan done by Springdale. This layout was originally pioneered by the Grand Design Transcend series, and I've seen plenty of other builders try to copy it. Cougar does a really good version. I've seen Catalina do one. I know Puma has one. This is perhaps, I think, one of the better entries into this floor plan family right here. This is the upscale full-blood Springdale, not the little more basic Little Brother Classic series, and they really make a very clear definition between the two. You've got a 220-watt solar package on this, and you've got a superior type of charge controller that will tend to convert 10% more sunlight into juice. So I walked out to this RV with just a generic lead-acid wet battery on it, and the 12-volt fridge was left running. We've had 3 overcast days. It's my first sunny day here, and that fridge is still running. I am kind of shocked and very impressed, actually, with how well it has worked. But that's not really what captured me on this floor plan. The light colors, the new taller ceiling, the open feel of this works well because it's kind of an open air but sort of private bunk room. It's a really weird concept, but Springdale put nice things in the right places, like a really nice theater seat that you don't normally find in a stick and tin camper. And that rear set of bunks can convert into an awesome little cargo garage or mother-in-law suite, which is something I know we're all looking for. It's got a couple hitches in its giddy up, like a Volunteer right now that it has a Camp Queen. It doesn't have full travel access, but what it does, I'm actually impressed with how well it does it. And I'd like to hear where you think they nailed it and failed it as we go, and subscribe if you appreciate how we're also sharing that information for you. And if you kind of like this, but you're like, I don't need bunks, take a look. I think it's called the 253 RD or 2350 or something like that. Springdale makes a very similar floor plan with a rear dinette and side theater seat that has no bunks. It's a little bit shorter, lighter, and obviously less expensive. But that's the thing. This is kind of, you know, a comfortable open living room layout that just happens to have an interesting cargo bunk function on the back here. They are using floor heating vents. They're using a different kind of register, though, that's a lot easier on your feet. And people sometimes go, why did they put it in the middle of the floor? 1, it's a more effective way to heat the RV. And 2, the heat ducts are running between the floor joists. You can't snake them around everywhere. And when you do that, you lose efficiency. Now, would you prefer this RV had non-floor ducted heating? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you're not a real cold camp enthusiast, it's probably a better option for you, you know. I'm surprised more manufacturers haven't adopted it on many new models. That's a larger 10 plus cubic foot 12 volt compressor fridge. I really like the location of those USB plugs, but I know the depth of those 12 volt fridges, and there's empty, dead air, wasted space behind it. I'll give the Salem Wildwood FSX group is actually, I'm going to give them some credit. They're very good at least opening that up and putting shelves there, or like a place to store a broom or a baseball bat and crowbar to defend yourself from the zombie apocalypse gas station murder hobo oblivion station, you know. This is our, it's shifting gears rather violently. This is our view from the theater seat back here. And it's a nice, comfy, plush theater seat, but as you may have noticed, it does not provide you a direct view of anything except the bathroom door. The television up here, especially with this being a 6'9" tall camper, the TV's mounted up very high. And something I was actually really surprised, they didn't put a pivot mount on it. It's a bracketed, removable mount television, but it can't swing around. And the way that they have it boxed in, it's kind of difficult to be able to do much with it. So an idea that I kind of had, what if, and this, I'm just asking questions, what if they got rid of the boxiness around the TV? They put the control panel just on the wall, because with this being a stick-built camper, like there's a stud where my finger is, but there's empty space on either side. You could have mounted that, or down here, for instance, you know. But that could allow them a bigger TV, and then, you know, maybe put some swing arm hardware on it. Like, as an owner, I might try to borderline DIY something like that. Or, you know, not me, but I'd pay someone to do it, because I'm not good with tools. It is a smart TV. And even though I dinged them for that, I want to give them big time credit for squaring off the countertop right here. So many manufacturers will put this on like a 45-degree aggressive cutaway, and you lose a ton of functional prep space. Look at all the counter space this one has. And as we're sweeping through this thing like Top Gun Maverick, check out the power outlet locations. They're right where you want them, which is actually one of the. It's easier to do that on a stick-built camper than a laminated RV. And the one up there by that front window, that is actually also inverter prepped. But you know, one of the things I thought about is I looked at this big chunk of space right here, and I was like, oh, baby, that is griddle country. You got an electric plug right next to it. That's electric griddle country. Pancakes, bacon, and eggs, baby. Yes, please. A lot of manufacturers have peeled ovens out of their RVs entirely. Springdale has really maintained them up here in the big Springdale series. Now, when you get into the Springdale Classic series, you'll start to see ovens go away because that's a super budget sensitive camper. This is the one where like, okay, you don't need all the way redonkulous over the top, but you don't want bare bones basic. That's what we're doing here right now today. Like, for instance, they could have just put a jackknife sofa there, and it would have been okay, but they put a pretty nice theater seat. Now, it is a population controller, and if that jelly ain't your jam, hold on. Whoa, I didn't have my ringer off. My phone's going nuts in my pocket. Sorry about that. I always leave my ringer off. I must have bumped it. I don't know. Anyway, what I was saying, this is a population controller. But the left recliner, the middle console, and the right recliner are three separate objects that bracket together. If you wanted to, you could remove the separate chunk and then hook these two side ones together, or you could take the center chunk and move it against the wall and have a love seat with a side console, if you wanted to do that. Although you still already have side consoles built into those armrests. I'll get those open in just a minute. First of all, I want to get back here to the bunks. We are 300-pound rated on each of those, which is kind of nice. And with the little stairway to heaven over here, you don't exactly have to throw the kids into the upper bed. Little easier for them to get there. You've got household outlets for each bunk, but if you look, you've got a set of USB outlets kind of half hidden behind that curtain right next to them, so you kind of make all that work a little bit right here. The window at the top, that does open for airflow, and as we kind of saw in our little floor plan in a flash, that is a rear locking cargo door, which is a little bit different and interesting. I'll show you a little bit more how that works on the outside. One of the things that's also kind of nice over here, a lot of bunkhouses don't really give us a lot of storage, but if we crack that open, see how that could be a closet or dresser or some combination thereof. And this rear bunk area, although it's kind of an open air bunk, it does give you a privacy curtain, so you can sort of close that off a little bit. Just to, I don't know, give everybody a little sense of privacy. One thing that I did notice is the top bunk doesn't have a dedicated air vent, but if you also remember that curtain, pardon me, that curtain did not fully close off the rear wall there, so you would still have some airflow going through. The kitchen's pretty straightforward, but it's not bad. Actually, I think the total kitchen storage is great. The one thing is this RV doesn't have a dedicated thing that we point at called a pantry that is stacked vertically. Instead, in a sense, your pantry is actually that huge chunk of cabinet under the squared off countertop over here. So I'm not saying, oh, that's a pantry. But this space over here, that's its function, is to be your Count Chocula storage, basically, you know. This is all pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry, by the way. Working our way up, I prefer sliding doors for the bathroom access, but one, a swinging door is less money, and two, the swinging door allowed them to bulk up on the bathroom storage because they didn't have to like leave empty dead space off the wall. Now, first of all, over here on the left side, let's actually start down here at the bottom. They actually gave us in the bathroom, well, you saw in the kitchen as well, really nice like wastebasket space, which I think was really cool. And we have some really good bathroom storage linen space next to that medicine cabinet right there. So overall, this is a great bathroom. However, it's a walk-through bathroom in a bunkhouse, and that doesn't work for some people. Some folks are like, well, in a couples model, I don't mind a walk-through bathroom because there's just not that many of us. But, you know, in an RV like this, if you're up in the bedroom and one of the kids starts using the toilet in here, well, you're going to have to use the outside door to get back into the living room area. Now, one of the nice things, That toilet's fairly fluffy friendly, and the RV being 6'9" from floor to ceiling panel means if you're a little over 6 foot like me, your head fits nicely up into that shower without your head being up in the skylight. Another thing that's cool here, you can get this 50 amp and you can get it with the factory installed second air. That's even something they do on a lot of their less expensive classic models, which is actually quite surprising. There's a couple things I don't love in this bedroom. Considering this is the more upper end Springdale, I would have liked to see this fully enclosed and cabineted off, but there is like a good 2-inch wicker basket holder gap up in there that could do a pretty decent job, I suppose. Now, a couple things. If I crack that open, you see that both of your side hanging closets are either dresser space or hanging space, which is kind of nice. They don't put USB plugs in the bedroom, but I guess you can always just plug a converter in there, and those are both inverter prepped, which is pretty handy dandy. Let me back up and get around the corner over here. Up top, first of all, you see that's where your TV hookups are located. But next to sharing maybe a little bit of wall space hidden inside that with the bathroom storage, you see that they give us some pretty significant extra bedroom linen space. That's really handy. Extra, Crocs, socks, and undies, or whatever you want to call it. Now, one thing I want to point out here, this is kind of a bummer for some folks. It is a short queen. This is a camp queen. Could you put a true queen in it? Yes. It's going to stick out about yay much further, so you're going to really be leg scooting it and butt rubbing it around the wall over here. If you're okay with that, go for it. If not, maybe, I don't know, look at the Transcend version of this, which has a true queen, but it also has a shorter ceiling. So there's so many weird little, why did they do it that way things in the RV industry? And I don't have all the answers. I just know what they do, and I'm trying to help educate you. By the way, this over here, little laundry chute hamper thing, what you do is you can put a laundry basket right in there from the outside of the RV, toss all of yesterday's clothes in there now that it's today, and when you get done, you open the compartment when you get home, grab the basket, and you're done, son. That's all there really is to it. The bed also does lift up out of the way, which is kind of nice. So you can, access all of that storage there. That's another one of the differences between the Springdale Classics and the full Springdales that we're looking at right here. You get the easy lift bed kind of function, but it doesn't matter who builds it, really. A floor plan like this, you close the slide, you're cutting your access in half, and you have to go to what I call two-stage. Now, this is a rack and pinion slide out, which is really good for handling big, heavy weights, but it's not designed for you to sit at the dinette while it's retracted. Now, you see that there people are like, well, what about all the storage? What about the fridge? Manufacturers build to account for that, but they don't build to account for you sitting and standing on the unsupported interior edge of that slide. Trying to bring more clarity to that discussion. Not a lot of people understand that. I don't know that I talked about it enough in the past. We can access the fridge enough. I'm going to give that a pass. That can count. Obviously, we can get to our sink. We can get to the bunks behind us. That's an absolute no-brainer. Then you're going to use the other door to get to the bedroom and bathroom as needed in transit. And now, depending on who you talk to when it comes to towing, you're going to hear two very different stories. I got a feeling if you visit most places and speak with most RV salespeople, not all, but most, they're gonna say like, "Oh yeah, you got a half ton, you'll jerk this all over the road, no problem, not a big deal." I'm not one of those guys. This thing is 9,600 pounds loaded. Now it has 2,500 pounds of available cargo capacity, which is awesome, but you kind of want to be able to budget for all 9,600 of that, which is going to really start pushing a lot of half tons, not to mention the fact something else a lot of people don't maybe know or consider is the length of this RV in comparison to what half ton wheelbases are more designed to handle. This thing could push a lesser capable half ton all over the road. So my good safer recommendation is going to be some variety of 3/4. If you're going through modest terrain over shorter distances and you have a more capable half ton, perhaps. I'll say it like that. But I don't know that it's something, if I'm going to go real far, I necessarily want to do. Now this is a rack and pinion slide system, and it does look like they were able to put a single sewer outlet on this one because the bathroom and the kitchen are right next to one another. Our underbelly is enclosed, and thankfully it is forced air heated. I believe they're using a 30,000 BTU furnace on these. By the way, you see that white valve hanging down. That's your freshwater tank quick drain. Power stabilizers, push button easy standard on these as well. Black tank flush, and on-demand water heater, giving us, well, especially in a bunkhouse like this, back-to-back-to-back hot showers, although you could fill that gray tank real quick if you're not paying attention, so make sure you're being aware of your water consumption. Nice big full pass-through on this, and again, they're using nice hardware for their solar package. I really respect what Keystone did. Those Victron controllers, they are a superior widget as compared to what you find in most of the industry solar stuff. It also has a dedicated disconnect for the solar package separate from the chassis disconnect we saw earlier in that black box in the upper left. That is prep right there in case you want to add an inverter. And although they're not slam latches, I do appreciate the fact that we have big baggage doors on both sides of that full pass-through that have their own little clip magnet. Clippy. Remember Clippy from Microsoft Word? When I was younger, I hated him, and for some reason, maybe it's nostalgia, I kind of miss him. Like every time, I've never said this on camera before, but every time I like mush mouth and jumble my words, I always picture Clippy popping up going, "Looks like you were trying to use words. Would you like some help there?" And I'm like, "No, Clippy, I got it." But I don't got it. Like Frogan memeing, he's like, "But he did not have it, my friend Andy Dufresne." Anyway, sorry, I got off topic. Outside speakers, I like where they're located. If you're gonna do them, put them down low. That makes sense. That was smart. Somebody was using their dipstick, Jimmy. And it's not a full outside kitchen, but we do have a little kind of the college kid mini fridge here. A little bit. Ooh, it's not okay. So it's not bolted down. All right. I don't love that, but I guess I can deal with it. Although, let me think about this. I don't like the fact that it's not bolted down. I see that there's buckle straps so it doesn't jiggle bang in transit. But what if you didn't want a camp kitchen? Because some people don't love this. It is factory standard. That does mean that it's easy to remove. Okay, considering that, I'm going to withhold my opinion. What do you think about the way they did this little mini fridge? Let me know. Lodestar tires. Reminds me of Lone Star from Spaceballs. Funny story. Mel Brooks asked George Lucas, you know, "Hey, is it cool if I make a spoof of Star Wars?" And George said, "Sure, just don't dress the main character like Luke Skywalker." So he dressed him like Indiana Jones and Han Solo, basically, which I think is very, very funny. Now, we saw the outside fridge over here. You see the gas grill quick connect for it. And as I back up here, again, we have that very interesting rear kind of cargo compartment here. What do you think about this thing? And I wanted to take an extra minute here to kind of, even though it requires wrestling the mattress and folding stuff, it takes extra time. But if I was going to spend this kind of money, I would want to know what I'm getting. Because you're looking at this, you're like, why do I want open air access to my bunks? Well, that's not really what it's for. The point of this is to move bunk, get out the way. Now you have to get inside, pull the mattress out of the way. You have to come back here, push and half climb up in there to get everything folded. And I want to be clear on this. I'm not trying to smoke screen you. I did not locate a way to actually secure that bunk in place. The D-rings are nice. I'd prefer 4, 1 in each corner, but 2 is better than 0, obviously. I'm not a math, but I'm pretty sure that checks out. She does also have a walkable roof to get up there for maintenance and upkeep. Doesn't include a ladder. It's prepped and ready for the telescopic removable. And that, well, probably you figure this out. Up top there is where your 220-watt solar panel is going to be located. So I'm going to drop you some links in the description, of course, to check the price tag on this thing. Any of them that we have in stock, we clearly have prices on our site. We don't do hidden fees. It's real numbers. Just add taxes and tags, basically. But also links to like the Catalina, the Transcend, the Cougar versions of this that I've had the opportunity to record. And let me know, all things being equal, if you had the chance, which one would you go with and why? Leave a comment on any of the videos. I don't care. When you're ready, we're ready. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.